Grand Rising, everybody. My name is Dejan. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm just going to ramble again about depression and your mind. So, depression doesn't exist right now. Depression does not exist right now. That is not to say that it doesn't exist, it just doesn't exist right now. What exists right now is this moment. This moment, your body exists right now, your mind, where depression exists. Because depression comes from it comes from the past. It comes from the past or it comes from the future. Depressed about something that may happen or depressed about something that did happen. Some trauma event or some event that has not occurred yet. But the only way to think about one of those two things, the only way for one of those two things to exist is if you think about it. I already went over that in another video. But since now we know depression lies in the mind, we now step one on how to tackle it. So step one, we know where it exists. It exists inside your mind. You can only think, which will make you become depressed. So now that we know it's in the mind, we got to see what in the mind is causing our depression. And that would be your thoughts. That would be step number two. Your thoughts are the only things that can create your unhappiness. If someone's walking down the street and they tell you the world's going to end, if you believe them, you'll be anxious, sad, worried, stressed, all types of things. But if you're walking down the street and the same person tells you that the world's going to end and you don't believe them, then you wouldn't be anything. You would just continue your day like it's a regular day. And this goes to show you that when you believe these thoughts in your mind, those are the things that connect you. Your thoughts are connected with your emotions. So these are the things that once you start to believe them, you start to feel. So if you start to believe the negative ones, you will start to feel negative things like depression or resentment or sadness or guilt, things like that. So now we know they exist in your mind. Thoughts are what make you unhappy. What can bring on depression is believing negative thoughts. So, and now we know that if you don't believe these negative thoughts, that these thoughts will not cause any negative emotions or unwanted. They would be unwanted emotions. So, this all goes to show that your mind's not your friend. This is why you have to have positive self-talk. Because if you're talking to yourself negatively, or if you're only intaking negative things, if you're only polluting your mind with negative images, sounds, negative words, then your entire existence is going to become negative, and then you're going to create an enemy within yourself. And the worst enemy, your worst enemy is yourself, your mind. That needs to be on your side. It needs to be your servant. It needs to work under and for you. Because if it's not working for you, that's where depression, sadness, these deep rooted, seated emotions and feelings and concepts start coming into play. This is why you have to get your mind right. It starts within within. Your mind's not out here. Your mind is not out here. Out here can't make you unhappy. These situations, these circumstances out here, that's just what they are, situations and circumstances. It's all about what you think about what those situations and circumstances will determine your vibration. If you think on the positive side, then you know your vibrations are raising. If you think on the negative side, then your vibrations are going to get lower. So when these thoughts or these situations or anything arise, you have to look at them. You have to look at them and question them. And I have videos about this. This is just me reiterating it in another way to tell you that your mind is not your friend. You have to train it to become your friend. You have to tell it beautiful things. I have a lot of videos on here about self-talk, positive self-talk, loving yourself, talking to yourself in the mirror, telling yourself good things. Because when you do that, you are gearing and changing your mind to be more like that. Practice makes perfect. The reason why the negative thoughts are so predominant and so powerful is because you've practiced thinking those and believing those and living in those and dwelling in those. Practice dwelling in the positive for once. The same energy you put into the negative, put that into the positive and see what happens. Your mind's not your friend, but it can be. It can be your friend. You just have to train it to be your friend. You know that your depression, anxiety, stress, unhappiness exist within your mind. Right now, in this moment, it's peace, love, happiness, fulfillment, contentment. You're content right now until you start thinking about the past or the future. That's when you start to throw yourself off balance. But right here, that's why they tell you to meditate, to get your mind to now. Train your mind to focus on the right now instead of wandering back and forth between yesterday, tomorrow, last week, next month, last year, 2 years from now. Focus on the right now. Depression doesn't exist right now. Sadness doesn't exist right now. Resentment and guilt don't exist right now. Those exist in your mind. And once you realize those exist in your mind and you start to tackle the things in your brain, and start telling yourself a different story. If you tell yourself a negative story your whole life, how else do you think the story is going to play out? It's going to play out negative. Tell yourself a positive story for once. Like I said, give the same energy to the positive as you do to the negative and see what comes out of it. Depression exists in your mind. If you like what I said, no. No ifs. Comment your thoughts below. Tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's talk about it. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I love you.